Oh. Selamat datang. Blessings to all of you. This is Mirakle-Weihua-Lokahi King, and I am emerging out of this hibernation from technology on this superb still point day here in the North Shore of Bali. And I'm really grateful to be able to come out in this way on this special silent day, the Balinese New Year of Nepi, where everything is at a 0 point. To be able to really speak about something that has been deeply in my heart around bioorganic intelligence. And what is the meaning of life? So obviously we're in a huge crossroads, threshold all around humanity with technology and how immersive it is getting, especially with those regarding economic global finance and just how we exchange goods and services. And there's a narrative happening that I've talked about many times, and a lot of it is in the last transmission around the solstice. I decided to take a big break from AI that was definitely coming in really strong to people's consciousness, into socials, and now it is very rapidly and quickly moving into the general social media, as well as what is a deep fake and what is real. And I think from my heart, as someone who has chosen to not be afraid of AI, but be very wary of it and discerning of it, and know that there is an aspect of augmented reality and machine learning that can be very beneficial for humanity. And there's also another aspect in which there's a very dystopian narrative that can eventually in the future timeline ensue. And this has happened before, this is nothing new. But I think in this time frame, we are facing the global potential of absolute dystopian catastrophe. And I feel that the only way to really mitigate this is to really bring the flame of the soul, the fiery passion of humanity back into the blueprint of this now Earth frequency, which is the present moment, and getting back into this concept of bioorganic intelligence, or BOI, B-O-I. And I believe the youthfulness within every single man, woman, and child is going to bring the flame of soul innocence, divine dispensation of karmic absolution back into the forefront of why we are here and the meaning of what does it really entail to step into the now point of future humanity. And the future of humanity is based on expanded emotional intelligence and being able to bring that love, that essence of union, that joy of connection with intimate partners and friendships, and to bring that energy to the forefront right now more than ever before. Because we are social creatures. And the one thing that we have on this concept of artificial intelligence is that we have emotional passion. We have the power of our feelings the power to magnetize in our magnetic field anything possible in this 5 sensory world reality. And if we can bring this primordial essence back into our nature, back into the simplicity of what's possible, then we can activate our personal blueprint. We can bring the joy right now as we move into spring all across this planet. We can bring the spring of bioorganic intelligence. We can bring the creativity. We can bring the enthusiasm. We can bring the energy of living a life free from constraints. Now, whether you choose to dive into using all of these AI modules and platforms, or you choose just to continue to have a healthy relationship with your own bioorganic intelligence and dabble only in that which makes you most comfortable, I invite you to make the choice only if it's a full fuck yes. Meaning if it's just a full fuck yes to get into AI, then do it and go all the way with it. And if it's a full fuck yes just to keep things in survivability in your bioorganic intelligence, and choose the joy of the light body in your physical vessel and move into how you can best serve, whether it's offline, whether it's online. But I think the most important thing is to create the joy that we have overflowing for the human race. And this is the key component, is that we have to bring this divine joy, this passion for connecting with others, not just on screen, but off screen, in the world that we are living in physically. And I want to stress that this is going to be the key component as we move forward throughout the rest of this Gregorian year of 2023 and beyond, is that we have to every day in our spiritual and consciousness practices, whether we're meditating, whether we're doing asana practice, whether we're breathing, whether we're dancing, whether we're singing, whether we're moving into service and helping others through different retreats and seminars and different functions of service, online and offline, that we engage more than we ever have before. And we have to engage with a full fucking passionate yes. And that is essentially why I'm coming back online, because in the last 3 months, since I've been off socials for the most part and off YouTube and off other video platforms, is that I've found that it's time for me to move beyond my own hibernation. And I've been talking about this, but I think essentially what I really needed to find was the deep connection with unionship with myself and others, and the beloved within that has been expressing itself with another and with others in my tribe, in my community, and getting that full bioorganic intelligence feedback on a collective level. And a realization that, yeah, we can go into the doom porn, right? We can express it, we can share it, we can see the writing on the wall, we can see that, all the terrible things are happening or potentially about to happen or happening right now. And I don't even need to get into them because you know them already. But we have this ability when we fire and wire our neurosynapses in our brain to focus on exactly what it is that we want to put our attention to. And more than ever, this is so key. This is the golden key component, to focus on what is happening right divinely now. And to really activate our bioorganic intelligence, if we choose this path and still have non-judgmental, unconditional, divine compassion for other choices, because there are many timelines that are being basically threaded through the golden needle right now. They are being filtered and threaded through the needle. And the more that we can allow the mastery of self-love, present gift of this moment, we can activate our bioorganic intelligence. We can activate BOI, or boy, the youthfulness, the innocence, the playfulness, the connection with our divine, joyful nature. And that's where every single one of our cells begins to feel this passionate compassion. It begins to feel this rooted sensuality, this primordial sexuality, this kundalini, the Shiva Shakti, this energy that wants to express itself through our hearts, through our minds, through our entire energetic morphogenic aura. And through this field, we can start to initiate our service ray projects for the new now Earth. And this is definitely what the theme is, because we are going to be potentially distracted by things more than ever. More doom and gloom, more potential fallout, more breakdown, more breakups, more things that are seemingly at a loss, whether it's monetary loss, whether it's project loss, whether it's business loss, whether it's home loss. And we're going to be forced into this collective mastery of bioorganic intelligence and really question in ourselves, in the deepest seat of our soul, what is the meaning of our human life? And I ask this right now as a rhetorical question because it's something that I've been asking too in this new year, seeing all the things that are playing out on the 5 sensory screen. And what I've realized is that in my deep dives into light deprivation, into my deep dives into really asking, how can I serve? How can I overflow my cup with all this love and all this joy and all this appreciation and gratitude for all of life? And I recently just got out of another dark room, 3-day deep, short, but very meaningful deep dive into a light deprivation experience here in the North Shore of Bali. And I was asking this question is, what is the meaning of life at this moment in 2023 for me, Mirakle-Weihua-Lokahi King? And the first couple of days were very challenging, and more so than maybe before when I've done other dark rooms. But I finally received in the morning of the 3rd day, a really potent narrative in my vivid lucid state. And I was propelled out of my body into this giant room. It was almost like a conversation I was witnessing of the elite or the global elite all around these hundreds of round tables in this giant ballroom with a giant chandelier, and there was food being served. And there was only one food that was emerging out of the conveyor belt of sort of this dim sum. And it was in Asia somewhere, this scene. And it was like a giant global elite gathering. And it was the lunchtime, and everyone was chatting, and everyone was dressed in their global elite suit and ties and formal dresses and things like that. And as I was gazing, I was like kind of on this balcony overlooking this whole scene, and I was the only one as these kind of vivid astral experiences happen. And I was looking out as the conveyor belt of all of this dim sum food, kind of like a sushi belt that was going around every single table, and there were hundreds of tables. And as they were coming out, there was only one dish being served, and it was on these small little white kind of tapas plates, and it looked like this larva, and there were all these different colors. It was like a giant, almost like a cocoon, a larva cocoon of a caterpillar that had cocooned, or like a giant slug larva. And as they began to go around, all the excitement and the fervor of this particular dish that was coming out of the conveyor belt, every single individual in this scene, in which there were thousands, around hundreds of these round tables in this giant cabal ballroom, they were all in glee. It's like they were just waiting for this dish, and they couldn't help but like grab it and voraciously, with an appetite, start to chew, and there was all kinds of juices flowing. It was almost like it was just a slosh fest of just hunger. And I was in fact sort of disgusted, because I kind of felt what this was representing. And I didn't really know why I was watching this scene. I was just like, okay, this is pretty nasty and disgusting looking, just the energy that was coming out. But at the same time, I was like just patiently waiting for the message or the symbol. And all of a sudden, I noticed, just out of the corner of my eye, coming out of the kitchen that was behind this huge ballroom, and was coming out of this belt, I noticed that there was one plate that for some reason had been able to go around every single table, and no one had grabbed it. No one had voraciously grabbed for it and started eating it. And it was almost like it was being held by divine grace. And all of a sudden, I felt in my heart that I just needed to like send this so much love and so much energy. And I just felt like it represented like this last semblance of true, innocent, divine, loving, youthful boy, bioorganic intelligence, humanity. And I was just sitting there sending it so much unconditional love. This little larva, and it was like this kind of spring green larva. And I was just sending it love, and it was such a small little thing, and I just saw it, and I was just nurturing it with my love and sending it love and just sending it so much compassion and protection, so that it would make it all the way through and be the only one that would come down into the center spiral underneath this big chandelier. And as I was sending it love, I noticed that no one was able to see it. And by and large, it just started circulating all the way around. And just before it was going to go into the middle circle and then kind of be recycled, where all the empty plates were being recycled, it started to move. And this cocoon larva, right before it was about to fall down into the garbage chute kind of thing, it cracked. And this beautiful butterfly with rainbow wings just cracked open, and it was a giant butterfly, maybe like this huge. It was just beautiful and iridescent and like almost like a diamond jewel. It emerged out of this cocoon phase and started fluttering off the plate and was circling around. And then all of a sudden, it was just like all the eyes were putting its attention towards this one rainbow diamond jewel butterfly. That's the best way I can describe it. And thousands of eyes of all these global leaders and all these crazy occult dark forces were just putting all their attention onto this butterfly. And there was this sound that came over loudspeakers that said, "This cannot leave. Everyone, try to grab this butterfly. Destroy this butterfly." And there was just like, call in the guards and, get in the nets and get the drones. And all of a sudden, there was just this huge turmoil and commotion of everyone shouting and pointing their fingers. And the butterfly was like landing on people's heads and fluttering off after someone tried to grab it and hit the guy's head instead. And then it would flutter to someone. It was almost like just playfully expanding its wings and flying, and no one could catch it. And they brought in nets, and they had these drones that were trying to beeline for it and shoot out these like nets that were trying to grab it and catch it, and no one could catch it. And it would just flutter by from people's shoulders to their elbows to their heads to their backs, and and it was just chaos in this huge global cabal ballroom of these elite leaders around the world. And in the end, there was just this tiny opening at the top above the chandelier, and it was almost like a portal just opened, and this butterfly was able to go around all around the room and evade capture and finally just shoot through, just as all these drones were trying to basically destroy it at the very end and capture it. And it was able to move through this little hole that was like a portal, and then boom, it just disappeared and was free, liberated. And I came back from this like super vivid, lucid state back into my body in the dark room, and I just sat up and meditated and was really like, wow. And I felt so much, not just hope for humanity, but it was like a message. It was like a sign that if we just trust in this divine process right now, that there is a massive, disorganized, chaotic, and yet it's not disorganized, it's organized. And there is a waiting process for this butterfly to move through this labyrinth. And if we can just focus on loving ourselves and all of our human family and our businesses and our projects of service and the awakening that's happening, and trust that this larva is in this cocoon process. And maybe we need to cocoon ourselves and protect ourselves. And I know many people are preparing for that. And if we just choose to focus on the image of this nourishing cocoon phase, and that now, in a way, it's time for the butterfly in ourselves to emerge out of this cocoon phase. And I felt like this vision represented spring. It represented the end of winter, obviously, for humanity. It represented also the winter within myself that I've been in for the last 6 years since becoming Miracle and having to regenerate and become this new being. And I feel like now, both individually for myself, and it represents the collective, that it is the time to initiate this bioorganic intelligence, to move what brings us most into our passionate desire to navigate this new narrative with other beings, to stay healthy and radiant, to realize that we're going through major energetic and planetary and astrological shifts right now, and that we can continue to nourish and nurture what's possible. Because with all the energy that's ending, we have incredible backing in a new timeline, in a new beginning for what's possible for not only ourselves, but all of our loved ones and everyone that we are serving right now in our work, in our play, and in our communities. And that more than ever before, that there is transformation happening. And if we can follow that butterfly through that portal and dance amongst all the obstacles and obscurations and everything that's ending, we can discover this beauty of this transformation, and we can share this beauty. We can help others that are still kind of locked into this cocoon phase or feeling scared or afraid and limited, and we can help them emerge out of their own shell. And I think more than ever, this is the moment, this is the time. And so I am absolutely overjoyed and passionate to come out and emerge out of this self-containment field and really see you again, and know that there is so much beauty in this new way. And I'm excited to present more transmissions coming up in this new year. And I really look forward to serving some of you in some of the projects that are unfolding and sharing more of what happens from the voidal intelligence into the liberation of our own collective butterfly, individual and with this tribe. Thank you so much for being part of Communiversity Portal and having the patience. Still stay subscribed to my channel, and I look forward to revealing more. Blessings on your day or your evening. We'll see you soon. Suksamam Wali.